My skill that I'm performing is a netball shot. My first joint that I'll be discussing is the knee joint. The knee joint is a synovial hinge joint because it allows the knee to flex, bend, and extend, straighten. The bones that are connected to the knee joint is the femur, the thigh bone, to the tibia, the shin bone. The smaller bones that also make up the knee joint is the fibula and the kneecap patella, which protects the front of the knee. I know this because the thigh bone femur meets the shin bone, the tibia, to form the main knee joint. The muscles that are connected to the knee joint are the quadricep muscles and the hamstring muscles, which provide the most power and control for the knee. I know this because tendons connect muscles to bones. These quadricep muscles are connected to the knee joint through the quadriceps tendon, which is located on the front of the thigh. The rectus femoris, one of the quadricep muscles, originates on the iliac spine of the hip, and the other quadricep muscles originates on the femur. The vastus lateralis originates on the lateral surface of the femur, while the vastus intermedius originates on the anterior surface and the vastus medialis originates on the medial surface. All four of the quadricep muscles insert on the kneecap, the patella, via the quadriceps tendon and then on the tuberosity of the tibia. As the knee joint is a hinge joint, this means this movement can only move through one plane, the sagittal plane, which means it can move backwards and forwards. The plane the knee joint moves through when performing my netball shot, seen in the video, is the sagittal plane because the knee joint is flexing and extending, moving backwards and forwards. In the preparation phase of my netball shot, the movement that occurs at the knee joint is flexion. The preparation in the netball shot is getting enough momentum to be able to shoot an accurate shot with enough power. I know this because the knee joint is bending, flexion, before I release the ball by using my quadricep muscles and hamstrings. The agonist muscle is the hamstrings, which are contracting as the antagonist muscle is the quadriceps. This is because as I am bending my knees, which is flexion occurring, my muscles are working in pairs, with the hamstrings contracting, which is pulling my knee joints and making my knees bend, and my quadriceps are relaxing and lengthening. In the execution phase of my netball shot, the movement that occurs is knee extension as I release the ball into the goal. The knee is a hinge joint, so during flexion and extension, the tibia and patella act as one in relation to the femur. The extension movement occurs by the sartorius and quadriceps femoris group of muscles are engaged when it crosses the knee via the patella, which acts to extend my leg. The quadriceps are now the agonists and the hamstrings are the antagonists. I know this because in the extension of my knee joint, my quadriceps contract to extend my knee while my hamstrings lengthen to allow movement. In the follow-through phase of my netball shot, the movement which is occurring is extension. As my knee joint is now fully extended and my hamstrings are now fully lengthened and relaxed, the agonist being the quadriceps and the antagonist is the hamstrings, as my quadriceps are contracting and my hamstrings are now fully lengthened and relaxed. My second joint that I will be discussing in my netball shot is the elbow joint. The elbow joint is a synovial hinge joint between the humerus in the upper arm and the ulna and the radius in the forearm. The elbow joint is a synovial hinge joint because it allows flexion and extension of the forearm to the upper arm and as well as rotation of the wrist. The bones that are attached to the elbow joint is the humerus, the upper arm bone, the radius, the forearm bone on the thumb side, and the ulnar forearm bone on the pinky side. I know this because the humerus is the long bone which extends and joins the radius and ulna which forms the elbow. The muscles that are attached to the elbow joint include the triceps brachii and the biceps brachii. I know this because tendons connect muscles to bones. The muscles in the forearm cross the elbow which is connected to the humerus. The bicep tendons are attached to the bicep muscle on the front of the arm, and the triceps tendon are attached to the triceps muscle on the back of the arm. The lateral head of the triceps originates from the back of the humerus, and the long head originates from the infraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. The triceps all have an insertion point at the olecranon process, which is the bony part of the elbow on the upper ulna. The biceps brachii originates at the top of the scapula. The long head originates just above the shoulder joint at the supraglenoid tubercle. The elbow joint is a uniaxial joint because it only allows motion in around a single axis. This is because the elbow joint only allows the movement, bending, and straightening. This is what makes it a uniaxial joint, as its only motion is in a single plane. The elbow joint only moves through the sagittal plane. This is because the elbow joint is a hinge joint, meaning it only allows flexion and extension movement in the sagittal plane. The plane the elbow joint moves through when I'm performing my netball shot is the sagittal plane. This is because the sagittal plane is a vertical plane, which the body is divided into right and lefts. When performing my netball shot, the sagittal plane occurs in the movement in the elbow joint with flexion and extension, as the joint is bending and straightening to release the ball. In the preparation phase of my netball shot, the movement that occurs in my elbow joint is extension. In the preparation stage, before I release the ball, I am extending my elbow as the ball is placed slightly behind my head in the hand of my dominant hand, and my other hand is placed to the side of the ball for support. I am extending my elbow because it helps gain height and distance, which gives me better accuracy. In the extension of my elbow, the muscle at the back of the upper arm, the triceps brachii, extends the arm and helps stabilize the elbow. In the elbow extension, the triceps is the agonist and the biceps is the antagonist. I know this because as the antagonistic muscles work together in pairs, because as one muscle contracts to bend the joint, the other muscle pulls in the opposite direction. The elbow extension movement, the agonist is the triceps because it contracts during the extension of the elbow, while the antagonist muscle is the bicep as it relaxes and lengthens. In the execution phase of my netball shot, the movement that occurs is flexion at the elbow joint. The elbow flexion occurs in the movement as I bend my triceps and bicep muscles to create momentum before I release the ball, which is followed through with elbow extension. I know this because flexion is when the angle is decreasing between the two body parts, the tricep and biceps. In this movement, the agonist muscle is the bicep and the triceps muscle is the antagonist. This is because the agonist, which is the bicep, is contracting and causing the bending movement flexion to occur. The antagonist is the triceps muscles, which is relaxing and lengthening. Finally, in the follow-through phase of my netball shot, the movement that is occurring in the elbow joint is extension, as seen in the video where I follow through and release the netball into the goal. I know this because during elbow extension, the elbow is extended using the triceps and biceps. The agonist muscle in the elbow extension and the follow-through is the triceps as it is contracting, and the antagonist is the bicep as it is relaxing and fully lengthening during the follow-through. I know this because the tricep is the agonist because it causes the action, and the biceps is the antagonist, which is relaxing and very lightly contracting to control the speed of the moving forearm. My anatomical structure can affect and limit the performance of my netball shot because of my height and muscle mass. For example, a professional athlete who performs my skill is Maria Folau. Maria Folau played 150 tests for the Silver Ferns. She had an international career in netball for over 14 years, which she had won 2 Commonwealth Games gold medals, 3 Fast 5 Netball World Series tournaments, and she was part of the winning Netball World Cup team in 2019. Maria Folau's ability to shoot accurately from a long range in the circle sets her apart from most shooters. Maria's anatomical structure in comparison to mine is very different, as she is much taller compared to me and has much more muscle mass. As I am 5'3" and Maria is 6'2", height is definitely a beneficial factor when performing a netball shot because it gives you better aim and accuracy, especially from longer ranges in the circle. So this is why height could affect or limit my outcome of my skill because of my height. Another factor that Maria had beneficial to shooting is her muscle mass. Because Maria is much older than me and stronger, she has a stronger muscles compared to me, which can also improve accuracy and the power of the shot performed.